Good morning to you and welcome to this special preview programme for the 2019 Dublin Racing Festival. Of course, this meeting, inaugurated last year, was a terrific success and we're looking forward to more of the same on the first weekend in February. Kevin O'Ryan is alongside me here at Leopardstown. Kevin, as I say, last year was a roaring success. We're hoping it's going to be even better this time around, aren't we?
I can't see why not, Gary. Last year, for the first year doing it, it was absolutely phenomenal with some great results. And 7 horses that ran here at the festival subsequently went on and won at the Cheltenham Festival. We saw some great performances by the likes of Sam Cruff, Pad, and obviously Arkle, Mr. Adjudicator. Mr. Adjudicator won the juvenile hurdle here, beating Arkle, and they reversed placings in the Cheltenham Festival. The likes of the Storyteller, Relegate of Willie Mullins' Delta Work finished down the field, and I think in the Coral Hurdle, and even Deffy Blue, he finished down the field as well. They've all subsequently gone on and won at the Cheltenham Festival a couple of weeks later, and I think it's a great idea by everybody concerned to amalgamate a couple of the Leopardstown meetings here. We've now 8 Grade 1s, 4 on each day, 8 races on day 1, 7 on day 2, an increase in prize money, and also great to see an increase in the English entries as well. I think there's 11 horses in total entered to run here, and please God, hopefully plenty of those will run. Warren Greatrix filly, she was obviously very good at Kempton over Christmas. The plan is to run her as well. And obviously Simply Neddery, Leopardstown specialist of Nicky Richards. He won a Grade 1 here at the festival at Christmas time. So really everything bodes well for a fantastic Dublin Racing Festival. And as you know, these things take time to bed in. It was such a huge success last year, and it's only going to be better this year.
Yes, as Kevin alluded to there, many of the stars who graced the turf here at Leopardstown 12 months ago are hopefully going to be back again, with some other big names thrown in as well. Apple Shade is just one of those, Kevin. What else in particular are you looking forward to over the 2 days?
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to seeing some of those good novice hurdlers, and as well as obviously the chasers as well. We've got the old Labrook hurdle is back to its old name, and that's obviously a massive prize fund. We've seen some great winners of that down through the years, and I was really impressed with Gordon Elliott's horse, Vision Donaire, at Punchestown. We were on Sunday. I think the plan is for him to come here at the Dublin Racing Festival, and I think he's just a real exciting prospect, and he's going to be a live contender with another run under his belt for obviously the Supreme Novices, or whichever novice hurdle he runs in the festival. Lots to look forward to. Get here to Leopardstown. It's going to be a fantastic weekend.
Yes, as Kevin said, some terrific racing in prospect here at the Dublin Racing Festival 2019. Kevin is going to be catching up with some of the key players here at Leopardstown, including the manager Pat Keogh and of course Clerk of the Course Lorcan Wire, to get the all-important going update with just over 2 weeks to go now before we kick off. But as I say, it was a wonderful first edition of this fixture in 2018. Let's cast our minds back to some of the highlights. Yes, indeed. I'm sure you'll agree, some great memories there of the 2018 Dublin Racing Festival, and many of the guests that we've assembled here for the launch of this year's fixture were heavily involved there. I'm delighted to introduce the 5 people who are hoping to be on the Roll of Honour this time around. We've got Gordon Elliott, Noel Meade, Joseph O'Brien on my left, and then turning to my right, Henry de Bromhead and Jessica Harrington. Guys, you're all very welcome indeed. Jessica, might as well just have a quick word with you for starters, because Super Sunday clearly featured very heavily in that, winning the BHP Insurance Irish Champion Hurdle 12 months ago. How much overall did you enjoy the whole weekend? an awful lot more after that race, I'd imagine.
Probably an awful lot after that race, but no, it was a fantastic weekend. It was a great advert for Irish racing, to put together the programme of the Grade 1 races. We all had to get our head around just not slightly different time frame for going into the Cheltenham Festival, but it seemed to work very well. And the end result was fantastic for the Irish trainers at Cheltenham.
It was a big build-up to the meeting, Henry. Do you think it really did live up to the build-up, the billing for the first edition of it?
Yeah, I thought it was great. It was really well supported by everyone, and hopefully it can only get better. Yeah,
Henry's going to be very busy at this year's edition as well. Joseph, you had that wonderful win with Ed Wolf on the second day. I mean, in your brief training career today, how high up does that rank, that moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I suppose it was one of my best days by far. But I think the whole weekend was a huge success. There's great prize money, very competitive racing, and you just see what the horses that ran over the weekend here last year done in Cheltenham to realise the standard of racing. Yeah,
Noel, it's well established you love a good festival. It's only a 2-day festival. It's not quite a week like Galway or 5 days like Punchestown. But did you enjoy the couple of days overall? Was there a good buzz about the place? You think it lifted off well?
Yeah, I think it's the spacing is very good. I think it's ideal in the fact that before this we had the couple of meetings in Leopardstown and they didn't actually space themselves out very well. Now with the way this works in, it sits in very well coming up to Cheltenham. And as it proved last year with the winners coming out of it that went on to win in Cheltenham, the spacing works very well, and I think that's the main thing about it.
Yeah. Gordon, just to bring you in, you enjoyed success here 12 months ago with Sam Crow. I mean, he looked so good that day. To get on the roll of honour, it's important, isn't it, for these big fixtures for you guys?
Yeah, it is. Obviously, this is what we're training horses for, to win on the big Grade 1 days, so that's what it's all about, yeah.
Yeah, and just before we go into looking in more detail at some of these races, just give us an update on Sam Crow. How's he doing since that setback that you found after his run here at Christmas?
Yeah, we're hoping to start him back right now, hopefully next Monday. He's been on antibiotics. He seems in good form at home, but we'll get him rechecked again next week and see where he is. It'll be day by day.
OK, we're not going to see Sam Crow, unfortunately, at the Dublin Racing Festival, but we are going to see an array of stars. I mean, take a look, first of all, at the menu for day one on Saturday, the 2nd of February, of course. It's a 7-race card kicking off with a trio of Grade 1s, as you can see there. The Nathaniel Lacey and Partners Solicitors Novices Hurdle. The Ladbrokes Dublin Steeplechase, elevated to Grade 1 status this year. The Frank Ward Solicitors Arkle Novice Chase, the 3rd Grade 1. Then the Matheson Handicap Chase, very valuable affair. The feature event, the BHP Insurance Irish Champion Hurdle, the Grade 1. The Grade B Ladbroke Hurdle, re-established with its former title. And the Goffs Future Stars Irish National Hunt Flat Race at Grade 2 to wrap things up. So an absolutely fantastic programme. We're going to start, obviously, with the BHP Insurance Irish Champion Hurdle. It does take pride of place on this opening day. Gordon, I'm going to come to you again here because sadly we're not going to see Sam Crow, but you might just have the super sub of all super subs to take his place in the shape of Apple's Jade. Is she definitely on course for the race as things stand?
Yeah, she definitely runs, Gary. She's in good form at home. She'll do a bit of work next Tuesday morning, and if all goes well, she'll definitely run. We'll probably run Farclas and Tombstone as well in it, so hopefully we'll have 2 or 3 runners all being well in the big race.
We're having a look at her winning here over Christmas over 3 miles. She's so versatile in terms of distance, but you seem to think 2.5 to 3 suits her best. How competitive do you reckon she's going to be back over the minimum?
Listen, it's very hard to know, but she's a very, very good mare and she does her best work on the track. Obviously it's a big ask her to come back to 2 miles, but we've nothing to lose by having a go at it. If it doesn't work, she's more than likely going to go for the Mayor's Hurdle in Cheltenham, so it's a big race and we'll have a go at it.
And there's been no shortage of people suggesting that Apple Shade herself should be trained for a champion hurdle. Depending on what happens here, is that still a possibility or not?
She'll have an entry, but I'd say it'd be very doubtful.
OK. And Jesse, you'll be hoping to stop Gordon with Super Sunday, who had that majestic win in this race 12 months ago. How's his preparation going for the big day so far?
Everything's going very well. Listen, he ran here at Christmas. He was beaten by Sharjah that day. He didn't really get the run of his life at the race there, but he'll always come on from the first couple of runs he has. He's a very stuffy horse at home, and he's just hard enough to get fit. And so I'm hoping that he will have come on again, and if it's a good true run race, which I think it looks like it will be with Apple's Shade in it, I think he'll run a big race.
He and Apple's Jade know each other pretty well from their previous meetings. Where do you see yourself this time around with Appleshade over the minimum trip?
It just depends on, it depends how the race unfolds. If they go really good gallop, he's got a great chance of staying on because he does stay very well, and it'll play into his hand.
And regards to the rest of the season, have you kind of made your mind up to keep him to 2 miles, or is that all very much up for debate?
It's up for debate. We'll just see what the ground's like when we get as far as Cheltenham. If it was soft, he probably would go 2 miles, but if the ground turned up to be really good in Cheltenham, and I thought he had a better chance there, he'll go back up to 3 miles.
Okay. Henry, you've got Petit Mouchoir entered in the race. I know he's got other options over the weekend. He made his comeback there at Christmas. What's the plan for him at the moment?
Yeah, I'd say we'll aim for that. He's in great form. I was very happy with his first run back. He hadn't run for a long time. He's had his problems, but he won it 2 years ago. He's a very good horse on his day, and we're happy with him, so I think we'll aim for that.
Who do you see as your main dangers, assuming that the big guns all show up?
Obviously Appleshade, Super Sunday, Sharjah. All of them. Lorena, they're all there,
Yeah, fingers crossed we'll see your horse. No, Joseph, you guys aren't going to be involved this time around, but it's a race that will light up, I think, the Dublin Racing Festival if all these big guns turn up. We haven't spoken about Willie Mullen's horses at all yet. If you had your pick of maybe one of these to get into your yard, guys, which one would you like to get hold of?
I suppose you'd have to say Lorena at the moment, wouldn't you? She looks like as if she's something special, and nobody really knows how good she is.
We saw her win the other day at Sandown. No, didn't tell us a lot. It was a 2-runner race, but just there's something about the way she goes about her business, isn't there? That X factor.
Probably, but I'm sure she'd done more in Coon Sutton on Tuesday than she did in Sandown, because she really didn't have anything to do. It was really only a workout for her. So you just have to think about what she's done already, and that with the way that Willie thinks about her, or talks about her. That's. I think that says it all.
Joseph, a lot of good horses lining up here. If you had your pick of them, what would you be?
Yeah, it's going to be hugely competitive again, Gary. It's hard to get away from Sharjah. He's improving, and he's getting better all the time. The last day was probably a career best for him, especially what looks like it's going to be good ground again. He's a pacey horse, and these big races are always run at a good gallop. But it's a very competitive race, and there's only one of 4 or 5 there that could win it.
And just staying with the first day, we'll have a quick chat about the Nathaniel Lacey and Partner Solicitors Novice Hurdle, which kicks off things with a bang. A Grade 1 race to open with, Joseph. You've got a few potential candidates for this race. What at the moment are you looking at running?
Yeah, I have a couple in this. It's probably Rhinestone is most likely to be my main one. He might be joined by something else, but he was disappointing in Navan last time. He didn't get to run in the race, and his second run over hurdles in a graded race. We think he'd like to step up and trip, and he looks to be my most likely runner in this race. Yeah, good horse, good bumper horse last season. Yeah, he was a good bumper horse. He won his maiden hurl well enough, and he disappointed in a graded race. So he has to go and prove himself now, but he'll be in with an each way chance, hopefully. And Noel, you've got a few entries for this: Dream Conti, Diolker, Eurobot. Would you be hoping to be represented at this stage at least?
Yeah, it's hard to know whether any of them take their part. The season has been a bit of a mess so far because of the ground. A lot of horses haven't run or haven't got a chance to run that often. Diolker looked like a very nice horse here at Christmas when he made that stumble, or he had that stumble at the last. He looks like but he's really a chaser in the making. So I suppose there's a possibility. Cap York might be the one that might be. He went to Limerick, didn't have a lot of luck around got sort of trapped on the inside. He might be one that might be worth having a run in.
Gordon, you've got plenty of entries as you would expect for a race. So there's a lot of nice novice hurdlers this season. Anything particularly earmarked for this race as things stand? I'm hoping probably to run 2 or 3 in it, Gary. Battle Over Diane, obviously we have their Commander of Fleet, and maybe Ting Tangle. So I'll run 2, possibly 3 in the race. I've got a good few other entries, but just looking at it here, they'd be the ones I'm thinking about. Battle Over Doyen, very impressive at Naas the other day. Is he a horse you've kind of always had very high hopes for? Is he delivering what you've expected from him on the track? To be honest, he was a horse we didn't get to the track last year. He's big and he just kept growing. A few niggly problems with him, but this year he's done everything right. I think he only won a bumper in late November, and he's gone on to win a Grade 1, obviously there in Naas. He's a good horse. He jumps and he stays, and he's a big chaser in the making. 2 miles 6, do you think that might suit him even better than the 2.5 at Naas? Yeah, I think it'll suit him well. And Commander of Fleet's in there as well. We haven't seen him since he ran in the Royal Bond Novice Hurdle at Fairy House. Could he be a better horse stepped up in trip, do you think?
Definitely. The Royal Bond obviously is only 2 miles. It was very, very short for him. He wasn't beaten far in the race, but the step up in trip will suit him well as well.
Okay, thanks, Gordon. Henry, a few entries for you in this. A few interesting horses that have won their maidens. Well, Malinus Jack, who won here at Christmas, is one of those. Have you got a clear standout number one at this stage?
Probably not. There's a few there that we're looking at. I'd say Malinus Jack, probably, maybe possibly Embren Mitcha. He won at Nace there before Christmas. Honeysuckle was very good there the couple of times she's run. They'd probably be the main ones. Manila Indo, I'd say, we'll see, but they'd be possibles, yeah.
Honeysuckle, I suppose, is a little bit of a dark horse. She's only run the twice so far, but she looked very good last time, I thought. Do you think she can go quite high?
I hope so. Yeah, she's been good. She won her maiden impressively over 2.5, and then we dropped her back to 2, and she was good. I'd say she ideally wants a trip. So yeah, hopefully.
And Jesse, you've got a couple of entries in there as well. We saw Magnum running in one of the clips we showed there just a minute ago, and press conference as well. I'm sure you were very pleased with his win last time, were you?
No, I was delighted with his win down in Limerick. He went to Limerick because he wants soft ground, and I've been hanging around waiting for soft ground. He probably is unlikely to run because he needs soft ground unless we've got a deluge. Magnum will definitely run. He has a bit of a problem. He just only goes left-handed, so he may as well run here. I was delighted how he ran in Nace. Everything went wrong with him in Navan the time before. You know, he's a chance of being placed. I'm not saying he'll win, but the step up to 2.6 will definitely help him, and a bit of rain might help him as well.
Okay, we might just be able to give you some good news on that, Jesse, because we're just going to break up the look at day one for a couple of minutes. Kevin O'Ryan is now talking to the clerk of the course here at Leopardstown, Lorcan Wire, to see if there is any rain on the way.
Yes, thanks very much, Gary. I've been joined, of course, by Lorcan Weir, clerk of the course here at Leopardstown. And Lorcan, the Dublin Racing Festival is just such a huge success last year, and lots to look forward to this year. Obviously, 8 Grade 1s as well, and you know the track looks in great condition.
Yeah, we're very happy where we are at this stage, Kevin. As you can see, 2 tracks in operation for the 2 days hurl track. So day 1 is out here and day 2 is on the inside. We haven't raced here on this line since this time last year, so it's virgin ground. It's in really good nick, and the kind weather, I suppose, in one hand, there's one upside to it that has allowed Willie, the foreman, and all the lads to do any repair on the chase track, and it's very well presented. We're very happy where we are.
We just spin around here if we get a shot of how much ground we're going to have the next day, just where the wooden stakes are. Yeah. That's where the second day's ground on the hurdle track is.
Yeah, it's a good strong 5 yards for day 2, which is standard, which is what we had for Christmas. So there shouldn't be a horse inconvenience being on repair ground for for either day. So official going where we are at the moment. Chase track is really good ground, and it might be a fraction easier in places down the back in the hurl track. So maybe good yielding in places on the hurl track. Okay. Forecast for the next 10 days, we're looking at, the latest forecast we got yesterday was 40 to 50, that's 40 to 50 mils of rain in the next 10 days. So, I could say we're well placed to take that.
And to be fair, there is plenty of juice in the ground at this time of year, although we've had no rain as such.
Yeah, listen, there's a change in the whole in the weather structure at the moment. From today, Wednesday, cooler, more changeable, more unsettled. So, as I say, we're not in a bad place. I mean, if you pan down there from the wooden stake, the trusty wooden stake, which some people believe, some people don't. There's kindness. There's kindness in that. The horse will leave a good print in that. Now, I fully accept it's been a difficult and challenging year for tracks and for owners and trainers, that it may not be quite, or hasn't been slow enough for some horses. But that's where we are. But, just to go back, we are looking at a forecast of quite a lot of rain over the next 10 days.
And that answers the question that I was next going to ask you. A lot of people have been querying, will ye or will ye not water? Obviously, 40 to 50 mils of rain forecast. That answers that question. I'd imagine you won't be watering.
Do you know, listen, I'd say that's a conversation, after 10 days, that's a conversation myself and Pat Keogh and David Atwood and Willie Gibbons and all the team here at Leopardstown will have. We'll have that conversation, maybe, okay? But let me tell you, so in the lead up into Christmas, I'll just give you an example. Okay, so we walked it on say it was a Monday before Christmas, and we had that weekend 25 mils. You know, and to be honest, the chase track hadn't moved much from where it was. So, you know, what is another 12 artificial irrigation going to do? I mean, what it might do is put a little bit more kindness in the top 2 inches, but the 5 inches below that is still very good. You know, so listen, I don't know, but it's a conversation that if we don't get the volume of rain that they're suggesting, it's a conversation we'll probably have.
There you have it, Gary Larkin Weir. 40 to 50 mils of rain forecast here over the next 10 days at Leopardstown ahead of the Dublin Racing Festival.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Kevin. A little bit of a murmur amongst the audience here when we heard that figure mentioned by Larkin there. Jesse, that's music to your ears, presumably, if indeed it does arrive. 40 to 50 mils.
Yeah, but it's just, you know, it'll make it really nice ground. It's not going to change it to heavy ground. Like we had this time last year, we were looking at, you know, every horse you needed water wings to get around the race courses. This year, it's just completely different. It'll just make it nice ground. It might make it good, you know, it's yielding to soft ground, which would be ideal. And that would, I think, suit everybody.
Okay, I think everybody would like the majority of that rain to arrive anyway between now and the big weekend. We'll move on to some of the other big races on day one of the Dublin Racing Festival. Next, we're going to check out the inaugural running at Grade 1 level of the Dublin steeplechase backed by Ladbrokes. And Jesse, we might as well start with you here because Sizing John is entered in this race. I mean, we're all hoping that we're going to be able to see him at some stage over the weekend. Is the likelihood that he could pitch up if the rain arrives?
If the rain arrives, you know, just, you know, I'm looking to try and work him this weekend, but it depends on what the ground does in Navan. If I can get him out and get him worked, you know, I don't know. He seems to be in very good form. He did plenty this morning at home, but it's just getting him away. And I just then, you know, I would, you know, probably would I like to run him over 2 miles and won the first run, probably be better than running him over 3 miles. So we'll just see.
I know you were talking at one stage about maybe going to Thurles this Sunday, but he didn't even have an entry there in the end. Was that just purely due to the ground?
The ground in Thurles has had firm in it this winter, which is unheard of, but, you know, just totally due to the ground.
So this is, if we do see him, this is the most likely race?
Well, could be. I'll just see what happens in the next fortnight.
Fingers crossed. Okay, Henry, you've got a couple of entries for this. Avenir d'Envie, Ordinary World, and of course Special Tiara, the former champion chase. So I'm guessing we'll see at least one, maybe if not 2 or 3 of those.
Yeah, hopefully. I wouldn't think Avenir d'Envie, but Ordinary World and Special Tiara, as long as the ground stays sort of goodish. Yeah, Special Tiara was 3rd in it, and Ordinary World was 4th in it last year, I think, 4th or 5th. So yeah, I'd say they'll both go for it.
And Special Tiara, he's getting on a bit in years now, but is he still showing all the old enthusiasm at home? That
he is, in
wants to get on
fairness,
with it?
he is. He's in great form, and he's had a couple of okay runs, probably both of them on ground he wouldn't be mad about, so we'll monitor the ground between now and then.
Yeah, Joseph, I don't think you've got a runner in this one, but great to see some British interest in this. Simply Ned, I mean, he's a horse who Leopardstown racegoers are very familiar with at this stage. He had another great win here at Christmas. He's probably going to come here and probably be underestimated again, but he's not a horse you can write off. We're going to see that race here now, in actual fact.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, he seems to love Leopardstown. He's a very, very good horse, and I mean, you have to take him very seriously, especially around here. This is a very good race again. Harry Whittington's horse is a very good horse. Obviously, won well in Ace earlier in the year. I suppose Min is obviously an exceptional horse too, so it's very competitive. But this horse will have to be taken seriously for sure.
And Gordon, we saw Dr. Phoenix of yours running in that race there. He's entered for this along with 1 or 2 others. Will he be represented, do you think?
I might have 1 or 2 runners like Gary, but I'd say they'll be up against it. It looks a hot enough race, to be honest.
And Willie Mullins strongly represented as per usual with the likes of Min, who I think is an intended runner. Footpad could go as well. What about old Simply Ned, though? He's been some servant to Nicky Richards, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's something else. He's coming here for the last 4 or 5 years and he turns up every day. But obviously, the Footpath, if he comes back to himself, he's the horse probably they all have to beat. But Simply Ned, he's a favourite around here, isn't he?
He certainly is. And we're just having a look at Min, who I mentioned there, winning the John Durkin Memorial at Punchestown. Your horse was 2nd this day, Gordon. Shattered Love. How good a performance do you think that was from Min here?
Yeah, I thought it was a good performance. He didn't do anything wrong. He jumped maybe a little bit keen through the race, but you know what, I wouldn't swap him either.
Okay, that's Min, who is expected to return here to Leopardstown for that Ladbrokes Dublin steeplechase on the first day of the festival. We'll have a look at one more race on day 1, which is the Frank Ward Solicitors Arkle Novice Chase. Frank's been back in this race for many, many years now, and hopefully we're going to have a really good renewal this time around as well. Gordon, just sticking with you actually, Mengli Khan, I wanted to ask you about him because a lot of people were disappointed with him here at Christmas, but I know you've said a few of your horses you felt ran below par that week and have bounced back in the interim. Do you think he can do the same?
Yeah, hopefully. He seems in good form at home, Gary. A few of them, albeit with a good few winners, with a good few of them ran below par as well. He never travelled at all in Leopardstown the last day like he did the time before. He was even money favourite in Leopardstown for Grade 1 here the last day, and he's 10-1 today. So it's hard to go away from him. But I'll run him and probably run Duke of the Tie, who won the Danmore at the weekend. He's gone up to a mark of 151 now. I think he's 3 or 4 pound behind Joseph's horse, Laurichburg, who I think is the horse to beat. He was very good the last day, but I'll run 2 in the race. Duke of the Tie and Meg McCann all being well.
And we'll come to Joseph in just a second, but based on what you see of them at home, I know you've said that Duke of the Tie's gone up a lot in the weights, but could you split them on their homework? I mean, I get the impression Mengli Khan would always been regarded as the better horse.
Definitely, yeah, but you can't beat horses going forward, and Duke of the Tie is going forward and he's enjoying it. But I suppose the one worry with Mengli Khan, he's a flat-bred horse, and they can be a little bit hot and cold over fences for me.
Okay, we'll see if he can bounce back. Joseph, you're the horse to beat, Gordon reckons. I don't think too many people would disagree, in fairness, after that win here at Christmas. Did anything he did that day surprise you?
Well, no, we were obviously surprised that he won as well as he did, but we always thought he would be a better chaser than he was a hurler. He seemed to love to drop back to 2 miles on good ground. So he's been in good form since, and he goes here with a probably favourites chance. However, this is a much tougher race. My horse was second to him the last day, and he'll probably run as well. He'll run as well, but I'd say this is a more competitive, tougher race, and like Gordon says, his horse is improving. The horse to win the Danmore, he's improving, and it's not going to be as easy for him this time around.
And in terms of ground conditions, the Laurichburg seems to really relish the sort of ground we have prevailing at the moment here in Ireland. You, I guess, wouldn't want too much rain for him, would you?
No, well, listen, I mean, like Jesse said, it's not likely that it's going to be soft or heavy, so he should be fine on yielding if that's what it was. But obviously, seems to love good ground anyhow. And
you're respectful of the opposition, but would you be disappointed if he gets beat here?
Well, no, every horse can get beat at any day, so we're very realistic. But he was very, very good the last time, and we'd be hoping he could put in a similar performance to that. And if that's good enough to win, great, and if not, so be it. Fair enough. We'll just get a quick word from Henry on this one before we go back to Kevin. Henry, a few entries. Mind's Eye, Paloma Blue, a Plutar, who, while he got beaten the other day, I thought ran a good race.
Yeah,
ran a bad
well.
horse, is he?
Yeah, no, he's good. Absolutely, he ran well. He won't run in this. No, the two Paloma Blue, who won here at Christmas, he won his beginner's chase. He'll go for this. And Mind's Eye, we'll see. He's 138. I don't know. We entered him for the handicap as well. We'll see near the time. But Paloma Blue is an intended runner for this. Yeah,
I know a lot of people had high hopes for Paloma Blue. You included this season. It's still relatively early days. Do you think he can get up to the similar sort of level, at least, that he was over hurdles?
Yeah, I hope so. We're working on his jumping all the time. It's taking a while to get him back to where he was, but he's certainly working really well, and he's jumping way better. And he took a couple of runs last year. I think that's just him, But we're going to concentrate now on day 2, as promised. Here's a look at the menu. An extra race as well. 8 races on the 3rd of February. Kicking off with the Irish Stallion Farms EBF Paddy Mullins Mares Handicap Hurdle, a Grade B contest. Then the first of the Grade 1s, the Tattersalls Ireland Spring Juvenile Hurdle, the Chanel Farmer Novice Hurdle Grade 1, the William Fry Handicap Hurdle, Flogas Novice Chase and Unibet Irish Gold Cup, both Grade 1. The Abbey International Leopardstown Chase, a Grade A, and the Coolmore National Hunt Sires Irish EBF Mares Irish National Hunt Flat Race. Once again, a card dripping in quality, but I think only one place realistically we can start here. That's with the Unibet Irish Gold Cup, which is the marquee event on day 2. We'll have a look back at some visual clues for this, in particular the race here at Christmas won by Kemboy, who was so impressive in that Savills Chase. A lot of our panel members had some sort of involvement in this, and Noel, if it's not too painful, I'm going to start with you. It's a bit of a video nasty as far as your horse Road to Respect is concerned, because he didn't enjoy the run of the race this day. We'll hopefully have the clip in just a second, but even in defeat, I think he probably, if anything, enhanced his reputation, didn't he?
Well, I suppose he look, sure, everybody sees what happened there, and they can make up their own mind as to what might have happened, but the winner was very good, and I have to say I was happy the way he finished, that he ran home. It was just unfortunate that he slipped it twice, but that's the way it goes.
That's it. I mean, most of the problems he encountered took place before we joined the action there, but up until that point, Sean Flanagan, certainly to those of us watching the race, seemed very happy. Was that his take afterwards?
Yeah, he was travelling well. Look, it was a peculiar race because they went no gallop. Like David got plenty of plaudits for his ride on the winner afterwards when he took it up. When you do so, it's, as I've often said and continue to say, it's very rare that a jockey who rides a winner gives a horse a bad ride. And he gets plenty of plaudits for saying he did everything right and he did this right and he did that. He gets beaten a short head and he's the greatest idiot of all time, you know. So, he did give the horse a brilliant ride. Our plan going out that day was to go around the inside as he did last year, and everything was going well until they went no gallop, and then he slipped twice, and it all fell apart. But look, that's racing, and that's the way it happens. The fact that there was no gallop caused all the horses to concertina together, and it became more like a 6 or 7 furlong sprint than a 3-mile chase. Look, I'm just happy my horse came home safe and sound, and hopefully we get him back here in as good a shape again, and we work from there.
And in terms of a gallop, in terms of hoping that something similar doesn't happen, I mean, could Michael and Eddie even stick one in there to go a decent pace up front, do you think, or will that be one for nearer the time?
I really wouldn't know about that now, to be honest with you.
OK, we'll watch this space. Henry Monaghan has run a really good race on his last start there. How do you see his prospects taking on all these horses again after that?
Yeah, we were happy with his run. Look, I mean, we're aiming for this. Probably would want a bit more ease in the ground, I think, for us to run, which hopefully we'll get. But yeah, look, we'll take our chance again and see. Yeah.
Are you expecting to see a better horse this time around? And
yeah, it was his first.
Is the other thing, the 3 miles. Do you think he's an out-and-out dyed-in-the-wool 3-miler?
Oh, sure. I'm not sure now at this stage, to be honest. I thought he was, but I think you'd have to start questioning that. But I think we'll give it another go and see. Yeah. Okay, Jesse, we've heard from you about sizing John. This would be a white-hot race to throw him into, I suppose, on his first start back, would it?
Yeah, it would be. But look, I'm just going to take each day as it comes, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, hopefully we're going to see him on the big weekend itself. Gordon, just to bring you in here, a few entries for this, the likes of Alfred Isabeau, Don Polly, Outlander, of course, who's had some great days here at Leopardstown, the storyteller. And Shattered Love was one I wanted to talk about because, to me, she just didn't really get the run of the race in that race here at Christmas. She's a lot better than she showed there, surely.
Yeah, definitely, Gary. But she won't be running. She came home with sore shins, so she did from Leopardstown here the last day. And for me, the ground will definitely be too quick here to run her. I'm going to keep her and go straight for the Gold Cup with her. I'd probably run 3 in it, run Noble Endeavour, Outlander and the Storyteller. Outlander loves the place. He wasn't beaten that far in the race the last day. The Storyteller the same again. He made a mistake at the last. He would have been a little bit closer if he jumped that, and Noble Endeavour could probably do it a bit of rain, but he's in very good form at home.
And just go back to Shattered Love there, is that a problem that will hold her up for long, do you think?
No, she's back. She's back hacking away, just back hacking away now steady. But, I don't want to take a chance on that sort of ground again with her because, I could the rest of the season up if I did,
Okay. Fair enough. And Joseph, we talked about it earlier on, one of the great days of your career so far when Ed Wolf won this last year. He was probably under the radar that day. He's looking like he might be one of the outsiders again this time around. Can history repeat itself, possibly?
Yeah, listen, I mean, unless the ground happened to be very soft, he's probably going to struggle again. He ran a nice enough race the last day. As the lad said, it was very messy, slow race, sprinted for the last 6, and I think you'll find that it wasn't anything close to being a true run race. So it'll be interesting to see how the form holds up over the horse's next couple of starts, but he's in good form and he'll probably run, but I mean he probably wants off the ground ideally.
And Derek O'Connor, who's ridden him in most of his races, is he likely to continue that association?
Yeah, I'd imagine so. I mean, he knows him well, so there's not much point in changing that now.
Okay, it'd be nice to see him here in any case. In that Unibet Irish Gold Cup, the centrepiece of day 2. Some great supporting action as well, though, including the Flogas Novice Chase. Gordon, have to start with you here because Delta Works been one of the stars of the season so far in Ireland. Looks so good, winning a couple of Grade 1s. Is he firmly on course?
Yeah, definitely, Gary. He'll come here. He only does what he has to do. His horse is actually, he's keen enough at home, but in his races he'll never win by too far. He won the Betemps, I think, by a head or a short head. He just won a beginner's chasing down Ryle by a length or a half a length. He does what he has to do. He's a nice type of horse to train because you never just know what's underneath the bonnet, and he keeps winning. But the plan is to come back here definitely, and him and Hardline, I'll run 2 in the race. Hardline runs as well. He won the Grade 1 down in Limerick at Christmas as well.
Yeah, as you can see from that clip there, poor Jesse's horse was completely outnumbered by the Jigginstown battalions. Joseph, one of whom was your horse, Mortal, and I would imagine you were very pleased with his performance there. How do you see his prospects going forward?
Yeah, over the moon, jumped and travelled very well, Gary. Only second run over fences, so again, he's an intended runner here. Maybe the drop back to 2.5 might suit him. I thought he travelled strongly the last day, but we're going to probably struggle to beat Gordon's horse. But we'll run and we'll be doing our best, and we'll try and get a share of the money.
Yeah, it's interesting because looking at that replay there, he wasn't as fluent as the winner at the last, and a lot of people felt that could have had some bearing on the outcome. By the sound of things, though, you feel you've got a bit to find, really, do you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I kind of know what's under the Delta Works bonnet, and we were very fluent in Fairyhouse one day with Larichburg, and he missed it, and he came back and beat us. So I wouldn't be sure that made a huge difference to the result. Okay,
but we will see him all being well. You've got a couple of others entered in there. Will you have backup?
Majorca might run here. He's a couple of options. Shady Operator as well. They both have an option in Nace around a similar time. Majorca fell in the race in Limerick over Christmas. Shady Operator won a beginners. Mortal will be my main one.
Okay, and Noel, do you think you're going to be represented at this stage? The Hunts have a couple of horses with you that are in this. Season O'Malley's on a real roll at the moment, albeit at a slightly lower level. Manila Fair, do you think you might take a pot shot with one?
Yeah, we've 3 in it, but Manila Fair wants soft ground. I mean heavy ground. My Ross wants softer ground. And the other guy, he's O'Malley, whether he'd be good enough or not, I'm not sure. He's won his last 3, but 2 of those are over hurdles, and he won his first race, which was a rated beginners. It's probable he'll go to Nace instead, but we'll see how we're going.
Okay, and Henry, a few entries for you here as well, including a couple we've talked about already, Paloma Blue and Aplutar, but also Chris's Dream, who was a very impressive winner at Navan earlier on in the season. We haven't seen him since then. Is he ticking over nicely?
Yeah, all good.
To run?
Yeah, absolutely. We were hoping to run him at Christmas, but unfortunately we just felt the ground was too good for him. So we'll monitor the ground. As the lads are saying, there's the option of the 3 mile at Nace. Or otherwise this. Not sure where we'll go yet. We'll see how the ground is.
And Johnny Ward was talking there about some of the overseas runners coming across. I mean, not necessarily such good news for you guys, but it sounds as though Warren Greytreck's very keen to run Lebago Raw here, and she's impressed so far. Would she be one you'd be certainly respectful of, if not afraid of?
Absolutely, yeah, you'd have to be, yeah.
What have you guys made of her? Gordon Lebago Raw? Have you seen many of her races? We're watching her here winning at Kempton, beating a very good horse of Paul Nichols, and Santini, another good one, back in 3rd.
Yeah, I've seen her winning a couple of times. She seems a very nice mare, yeah.
Okay, that's Lebago Raw, who Warren Greytreck's reports bang on course for the Flogas Novice Chase. Top of the game in 2nd there, and Santini, as I say, runs on well in the closing stages. A big fancy for the RSA Chase at Cheltenham further down the line. She's pretty smart, Joseph. Not a massive big mare by any stretch, but she's got plenty of heart, hasn't she?
She's very, very good, Gary. I mean, she's probably a lot bigger than what she gets credit for there, because that chestnut horse is humongous. I remember seeing him at the sales. He must be nearly 18 hands. But I think she's a very good mare. She gets to 7 pounds, obviously, and she's probably the main danger to Gordon's horse.
Okay, we'll have a spin through the other Grade 1 races on day 2 in just a second, but in the meantime, let's go back to Kevin.
Yes, thanks, Gary. I've been joined by Chief Executive here at Leopardstown Racecourse, Pat Keogh. And Pat, it was such a wonderful success last year, the inaugural running of the Dublin Racing Festival. Bodes really well for the upcoming festival this year.
Yeah, when we looked to put the Dublin Racing Festival together, it was an initiative really on behalf of all of Irish racing. It wasn't just Leopardstown. So Horse Racing Ireland, when we started discussing the concept, saw that there was an opportunity to create a new festival, just perfectly positioned between the festivals at Christmas time and Cheltenham in March, and all the other race courses bought in because the creating of those 2 days required the goodwill and the support of 5 other race courses that were affected by it. So Irish racing came together and said, right, this is something worth doing. So, the prize money last year was 1.5 million, up from 1 million on the corresponding racings in the races of the previous years, and that's very important because the prize money drives everything. That goes to the owners, that pays the trainers, that pays the jockeys, pays for the buying of the horse. All of that's really important, and we're delighted on the success of last year's festival from every point of view, from our sponsors, from the general public who really embraced it, that we're able to increase the prize money for this year from 1.5 last year, so it's up in excess of 1.8 million this year. So the prize money is up 80% on the corresponding races the previous year, and that's very significant, and that's a big boost. That's a big boost to racing, and we couldn't do that without the support of an awful lot of people.
And Pat, do you think that's why the increase in English entries are here as well? It's up marginally in last season. Do you think that's something got to do with the prize money being increased?
Well, I think there are two factors in it. I think the trainers everywhere have their own routines that they follow over years, and they bring horses to certain race meetings through the season. So when something new comes along, it takes a little bit of time for them to change. That's the first thing. So they saw the success last year, and we've had more dialogue and more discussion, and there are more entries this year. So that's certainly the prize money is one aspect of it. But you've eight Grade 1 races over the 2 days. Minimum prize money 87,500 over the 2 days, and there are 10 races with the value of 125,000 or over. The BHP Irish Champion Hurdle is worth 175,000 on the first day, and the Unibet Gold Cup and Irish Gold Cup on the Sunday is worth 225,000. That's very significant.
And Pat, take out the racing. We've obviously 8 races on day 1 on the Saturday, 7 on day 2, an increase of 1 Grade 1. We had 7 Grade 1s last year. Now we have 8. What else can the race goers look forward to outside the racing here at Leopardstown and Dublin Racing Festival?
Well, racing is absolutely at the core. It's central to everything that we're doing. If we didn't have the racing, it wouldn't be there. It just wouldn't be happening at all. And the reason why I think it's so good is that Irish racing is in a great place at the moment. They're great horses here. They're great owners. And the trainers want to take each other on week in, week out. It's fiercely competitive, and that's what the sports fan wants. And we attract people in from other sports when they see the competitiveness of racing. Sports fans go wherever the action is. We all have interest in other sports other than the one we love best. But when you have something like racing that's as competitive as this, I think it's a great way to attract new people into the sport. Having said that, you've got to provide more than just racing. You've got to entertain. You've got to for the hospitality. You've got to food, you've got to beverage. But what we have here over the 2 days, we open the venue here at 10:45 each day, which is 2 hours before the first race, and we've entertainment all day long. So there's something more than just racing to entertain people. And then we finish with music both evenings. And on the Saturday evening, there's a little match not too far from here. Ireland are playing England in the Aviva Stadium on the Saturday evening, and that'll be screened everywhere in Leopardstown on the Saturday night. And last year, there were lots of highlights of the inaugural running of the Dublin Racing Festival, but one that would have to find its way in there was Johnny Sexton's drop goal in the 82nd minute. Leopardstown erupted when it happened, and that was 6:30 in the evening of whatever time that was. So please God, we'll have something to celebrate on the Saturday night. So there'll be something all day, both days, to entertain whoever comes here.
Yes, thanks to Pat and Kevin there. Some great racing and great entertainment here at Leopardstown over the course of the weekend in Prospect as well. Let's get back to having a look in closer detail at some of the big races on the Sunday. And first amongst them is the Tattersalls Ireland Spring Juvenile Hurdle. Joseph, I have to start with you here because your horse Sir Eric has created a big impression in his brief hurdle career to date with that win at Christmas time. First and foremost, I guess to get a classy horse like him off the flat was exciting, but to go and see him then do it on the track, it just bodes very well for the future, doesn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it does. He jumped well enough Gary, he probably will have to, there's no doubt he will have to jump better going forward. Looked a very competitive race, huge field. I mean, there was strong word for the horse to finish second, and my fellow was toughed it out to the line. So obviously we're very happy with that for his hurl debut, and he'll have to step forward here at the weekend, but he'll hopefully be capable of doing so.
I know you had a horse in behind there in the Philip Reynolds colours, ran very well and went close to Punchestown the other day to, I suppose, back up the form a little bit. Were you impressed by Joseph's horse on the day?
Yes, I tell you what I loved about him was the strength of him. He's very strong, tough, loads of strength for a 4-year-old at this time off the flat. He's really like a jumper, and yeah, my lad, we fancied him in that race in here. He jumped a bit ordinary, and we fancied him again the other day. And Fozzie came along and won with a horse that ran the Derby, and he was very impressive. He ran down the last hurdle in Punchestown and probably threw away a few lengths, but he still won very, very easily. And I think my horse is quite a nice horse. So I don't see Fozzie's horse in that race, but whether he might turn up in it yet, I suppose I'm sure there's a...
I think he was leaning away from it the other day, give him a bit more time maybe.
Might lean back into it now when he starts looking at that race again. But I don't know. He was impressive and he looked good, and I suppose. But I like Joseph's horse. I love the way I love the strength of him in the ring beforehand, and the way he was. He looked like a proper jumping horse, you know.
You're going to take him on again?
I'd say it's unlikely.
Okay, Gordon, you've got some nice juvenile hurdlers this season. Several entries here. Surin won well the other day. Chief Justice and Cur Sublime, though, they've been locking horns in some of the big juvenile hurdles so far. I guess they're intended runners, are they?
That's right, Gary, yeah. Chief Justice, Cur Sublime and Surin, all three will run in the race. Chief Justice, you know, if the ground stays good, it'll suit him. I think he was a bit unlucky here. He was a bit far out of it when my other horse fell. Cur Sublime, he was sore for a bit after this, but he's okay again, thank God. He'll come back, but I could do with a bit of rain for him, to be honest. I think you won't see the best of him till you see a bit more of an ease in the ground. And Surin, she's a big mirror that's improving the whole time, but she'll have to keep improving to beat Joseph's horse. I was impressed with him the last day. He looked like he won probably a little bit snugger than the distance he won over. And, you know, going forward, he's probably the horse we all have to beat.
Jesse, you had got trumped in that race. I presume he'll roll on here, all being well too, will he?
He'll roll on, yeah. He takes plenty of racing. He would like it if there was a bit more of an ease in the ground, you know, because in the end of the day, he'd probably end up in the Fred Winter at Cheltenham, and so he needs to get plenty of experience. And look, he'll run a good race. He's probably, I think Joseph's horse is it won very well, and Tom Mullins' horse Rocky Blue, he won well at Christmas as well. So you know, it's going to be a very competitive race. And we'll just have to wait and see. If we got a bit more rain, I think we might have a bit of a different outcome.
And Joseph, just to come back to you finally, I mean, your name wasn't on the licence at the time, but obviously you were effectively training Ivanovic Gorbatov, who won a Triumph Hurdle as a juvenile. At this stage of his career, where would Sir Eric be vis-a-vis him?
They're two completely different horses, Gary, so it'd be very hard to compare them. But I mean, they had similar enough ratings on the flat, and this fella's a much bigger horse and probably maybe wouldn't have the minds in the clock that Ivanovic did, but I mean, it'll be a big ask going straight into a Grade 1, so he'll be entitled to come on again from it, but we'll see what happens.
Okay, that's the Tattersalls Ireland Spring Juvenile Hurdle. The Chanel Farman Novice Hurdle, another very interesting race on day 2. It's a Grade 1 over 2 miles for the older novice hurdlers, and again, a really interesting contest here. No, might as well start with you here. I was very impressed by your horse at Naas the other day, Valgio. I know you've held him in high regard for some time, and he really is starting to deliver now, isn't he? Won his bumper at Down Royal, and that was good the other day.
Yeah, yeah, we've always liked him, and we were always, every time we went to the race, we thought he should win, but he continued to get beat, which is not a good sign. He won easily in the north, and then he was good the other day. That race the other day might just be a little bit false in the fact that Jesse was favoured and went wrong, and more or less pulled up, so that wasn't a factor, or that wasn't in competition. And maybe the strength and depth in the race wasn't that great, but he jumped very well and he did everything right, and we've loved him at home. And look, I'm almost certain he'll take his chance here, and we'll see where we are when he runs in that.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Gordon, you had a couple of very impressive winners that could go for this race, Felix Deji and Vision D'Honneur at Punchestown the other day. And interesting, I know talking to you afterwards, while Felix Deji has won a Grade 2, maybe you think Vision D'Honneur might be the more talented horse. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think obviously Felix has won a Grade 2 and you can't take it away from him. But I think going forward, Vision D'Honneur could be the pick of them. Both horses are entered. Vision D'Honneur definitely run, and Felix, I'll see how he is during the week. He's had a good few runs, so I mightn't just need to run him again. But Vision D'Honneur definitely run.
Vision D'Honneur did get beaten here first time out on Stephen's Day. Talking to you at Punchestown, I think it's fair to say that knocked you for 6 on the day, didn't it?
Yeah, I thought he'd win. He was finished fourth in the first 3 hurdles. The first 3 horses all had runs over hurdles. I would have just jumped a bit green and spent too much time with the air, but ran well. It was only beaten 4 or 5 lengths. He's improved an awful lot from it, and Jack said he'll actually improve again from Punchestown the other day. He was still green the other day. I think he's a smart horse, yeah.
Okay, look forward to seeing him. Henry, again, a few entries for this. Some of them we've spoken about already, likes of Malinus Jack and Honeysuckle. I presume you'd hope to be represented by something, though, would you?
Yeah, hopefully Dancing on My Own, who was in front of Vision D'Honneur here. He was third in that maiden hurdle. I'd say we'll just keep him in the better novices now. He's a horse we like a lot. I was a bit disappointed he was beaten as well. But yeah, we'll have another go.
Fingers crossed. Joseph, just before we go back to Kevin, you've a few in this. Triplicate's been running in good races. Lone Wolf and Tukas is a horse I think could have a bright future. Will we see one or any of those?
Yeah, you'd probably see most of them. And Tukas again, that same maiden hurdle in Leopardstown. We think plenty of the horse, and he's probably a likely runner here. Triplicate is probably a likely runner here. He was quite disappointing over Christmas, but he maybe didn't enjoy making the running. And Lone Wolf ran quite a good race behind Battle of Diane and Nace, and he's a likely runner here as well. So we'll see what happens, but a couple of them will take their chances anyway.
And Tukas, the horse we were talking about there, he's still a maiden. Is the feeling at this stage he'll maybe just have a crack at a couple of graded races, and if he loses his maiden tag in one of those, you won't be too disappointed with it?
Yeah, maybe something like that. I had a feeling that was very strong maiden over Christmas. The winner was highly regarded, and I mean the first 4 home, everybody thought they'd win going to the race. So I'd say that was a very strong race, and we like our horse, and we're looking forward to running them again.
The Dublin Racing Festival, February 2nd and 3rd. Get tickets at leopardstown.com.
Guys, we're coming towards the end of the road on the launch day of the Dublin Racing Festival here. Just wanted to, before we wrap up, Jesse, have a chat about other horses you're looking forward to. Just give us a few names and maybe what you feel could be your best chance of a winner over the 2 days.
Well, I'll run a couple of mares in the Mares Handicap Huddle, which I won last year with Ali Trick. She's entered in that again. Ravetta will be entered in that. I've got a couple in the 2 Mile 5 handicap chase. Moonshine Bay and Whisper in the Breeze both need a bit of handicap experience. And I'll probably I might have a mare in the Mare's Bumper, just depending on how it goes between now and then. And we'll have probably a couple in the Ladbroke Hurdle. I've entered a couple today, but I'd say the most likely runner in that is Jetez, who was second to Gordon's horse on Sunday.
One here at Christmas.
Yeah. Likes the place.
Okay, Henry, it's going to be a busy couple of days for you, I'm sure. Just maybe give us a few names to watch out for from Knockeen.
We've done a few entries there this morning. Tis a Mystery, who won at Christmas. He's in the handicap chase with a few others. Moon Over Germany, 3 Wise Men, and we've various other ones entered in the other handicaps we'll see near the time.
Moon Over Germany, 3 Wise Men, they'll be handicap chasing, will they?
Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, Moon Over Germany it's rated 135. He ran well in a beginners the other day, and 3 Wise Men also. Yeah.
Okay, fingers crossed for a good weekend. Joseph, again, it's going to be a very busy couple of days for you, I'm sure. What do you think might be your best chance of a winner?
I suppose on paper, Le Richburg maybe Gary, but like I say, he is facing stiffer competition this time. I'll have a couple more in handicaps. I don't have as many as maybe I'd like. Viewmar Van second in the Paddy Power, maybe go for one of the handicaps, and I'll have a couple in bumpers that'll take their chance as well.
Any nice bumper horses kind of please you at home?
Yeah, I have a few. Ash Hill won in Leopardstown over Christmas. I have a horse, Embittered won a maiden won a bumper in Punchestown, and Meticulous will probably line up again. So we'll see how we go.
Okay, Noel, just to come to you again, anything in particular in the races, especially that we haven't spoken about, that you're looking forward to running?
Look, it's very hard to know. Like we all did entries this morning for the handicaps, but to be honest with you, until you see where you are at, what you have to beat, and what the ground is going to be like, it's very difficult to say anything at this stage is going to be. You should have this or that or the other. Look, I'm looking forward to the festival, and I'm hopefully looking forward to Rhodes going in the race and getting a good run, but. I'm really looking forward to the festival as such, but it's impossible to say this far away from it just exactly what you would fancy and what you wouldn't.
Yes, we'll have a better idea when we see the entries for those handicaps. Anything you feel might have a pound or two in hand at this stage from long distance, though?
Jesus, you wouldn't be able to answer something like that.
Well, I'm only asking the question, doing my job. I'll ask Gordon the same question now in a sec.
I'm sure you get the same answer.
Gordon, any good things for the handicaps? Anything with a stone up its sleeve?
I wouldn't know, to be honest, Gary.
I'm sure you wouldn't. No.
No, look, as Noel said, it's very hard to be calling, kind of give someone a horse now. Nearly 2 weeks away from a race when we don't know where the ground's going to be. I'll have a lot of runners. There won't be too many races I won't have a runner in, and hopefully we can get a few winners.
Just give us one or two names. Doesn't have to be a handicap, but maybe even a bumper horse that we haven't mentioned there.
Envoy Allen, if we got a bit of rain, could run in the
big bumper on the first day.
Yeah. And Daylight Katie could run in the mare's bumper. She's a good mare. She only finished third in Punchestown the last day, but she's a good mare. If she got things together, she's a fair mare. Envoy
Allen, I think everybody's been really impressed by him, particularly last time. Is the feeling just that you're probably going to give him one more run this season, whether it's here or somewhere else?
Yeah, he's in very good form at home. He's entered here. Obviously, I would like to see a bit of rain for him to run, but he's a good horse and he's a horse for the future.
Okay, I tried, everyone. I tried. Gordon, Noel, Joseph, Henry and Jessica, thank you very much indeed. It's been a real pleasure being here for the launch of the 2019 Dublin Racing Festival. I want to thank everybody who's joined us here at Leopardstown this morning as well, and everyone watching at home on Racing TV. All being well, we'll see you here for the festival itself on the first weekend in February. Bye-bye.